Hello humans, and it is Christmas time, and there will be a lot of gifts, but not for you. Because this time, World of Tanks Blitz again presents the gambling extravaganza that is the Christmas event, where you can buy golden boxes and also free XP boxes to gamble on a vehicle that isn't even worth half of what it costs. So, for you, I've decided to descend down into the 10th circle of hell and extract all of the knowledge that you need to get through this Christmas event without wasting your money. And the event works the same as it does every year. You either win a lot of battles or you pay your way by opening these golden boxes right here. And then once you get to the back, you can choose between a Chrysler K and a snow globe. And to get the XM66F, you are going to need 10 snow globes to get the tank guaranteed, because the drop chance for the vehicle, well, it's very low, obviously, so you're most likely never going to get it that way, so you need to open 10 snow globes. But the drop chance in here for a snow globe is also 10%, which is not really that great, to be honest. But you're gonna have to open a lot of boxes, so on average, we're looking at 150,000 gold to get the XM, on average. Not really that great. You can also open them for free XP, which, I mean, one's free, which is not too bad, but then they cost 50,000 free XP, and I don't recommend them because they are terrible in what's in here. Basically, unless you have millions and millions of free XP that you don't need and don't know what to do with, these are a terrible investment. Now, whether to go for the Snow Globe or the Chrysler K, now the Chrysler is a solid vehicle for what it is. It's been in the shop like a week ago, so if you bought it then, oops. And basically, it's a decent vehicle, but it is in no way great. So I would personally recommend trying to get the Snow Globe, because here you have the chance to get better vehicles. And now we get to the highlight of the Christmas event, the brand new Tier 10 Tank Destroyer, the XM66F. The XM is a little bit of a middle piece between the E4 and the E5. The DPM is 3.5k, but the alpha damage is for a tank destroyer only 410. The weapon handling is again sort of in the middle between the two. It has worse accuracy than the E5, but better than the E4, and it does have better than both at 10 degrees of gun depression, so weapon handling is pretty solid. And the mobility is kind of the same again, 40 kilometers an hour, better than the E4, worse than the E5. And the powder weight ratio on this vehicle is terrible, but it has much better ground resistances than the E4, making it quite a bit faster, but it is again slower than the E5. However, it does traverse quicker, so you have sort of a weird middle piece between both. Now, the armor of the vehicle, especially on the turret, is very good, around 500mm all around the turret here, but there are two weak spots, and that is one, this plate right next to the gun mantlet, and the gun mantlet itself is also not really that thick in some places, so try to shoot it in this area here, or on top of the turret if you're sort of a higher vehicle, because this is not a very tall tank, so if you're in a tall tank you can just shoot down into this plate and you will be able to penetrate it with most premium rounds quite easily. And the turret cupolas, even though they're tiny, that can be penned easily as well. But you can hide that very easily by simply using your 10 degrees of gun depression. The lower plate, however, can't be hidden because it's always going to be a weak spot. So yeah, just try to hide your lower plate entirely rather than hoping for angles. And then the upper plate can be hidden with armor, basically 450mm here, but 300 effectively on a even ground. So try to sort of go hull down and hide everything besides the turret. And because the turret's very good, and then try to move back and forth, because then they won't be able to hit these spots here or the tiny cupolas on top of the vehicle. Sides is 90mm and it's sloped off in the bottom, so if you are shooting at this vehicle from the side, try to hit it in the middle portion here, so you don't get any weird bounces here and there. But then again, the rear plate is absolutely massive, so if you can see this thing, just fire at it because it is absolutely huge. And the vehicle, it can't really fight that far because it only has 45 degrees left and right, so try to get behind it quite easily, and once you're behind that, it has nothing to do against you. But if you're sitting in front of it, the DPM and the good armor are going to be a huge problem for you. Now, is this vehicle worth hundreds and hundreds of euros to obtain it? And if your answer to that question is yes, then I would highly urge you to lay off the white powder. It's not doing any good for you. So basically, no vehicle is worth the amount that this vehicle will cost, which is already not great. But that's wargaming strategy milk the whales, and then a couple of years or months later, they sell the vehicle for an actual decent price. Like, for example, right next to me is the Badger, and the Badger is sort of a similar vehicle from the build as well, because even though it doesn't have a turret at all and has nothing to do with the American vehicles, it also has a lower alpha damage, extremely high DPM gun, with very good armor, even better armor than the XM has. It obviously doesn't have a traversable turret in any form, but it's already available in-game. So if you want the XM, you can just get yourself a Badger in the meanwhile, and if you already have a Badger, you kind of don't really need this thing, because again, it is the middle piece between the T125 and the T124. So basically, it's the answer to the question of, I want the E5, but I want more DPM, and I want its turret to not work. And that's basically what the XM is here. It is a good vehicle, but obviously it is not worth spending any much more than, let's say, 20,000 gold on it, just like any other tier 10 as well. Which already sort of answers every question you might have had about, oh, is it worth buying snow globes or boxes? No. Because even though it's Christmas, the only presents that the Christmas event does give is to wargaming. Because they will earn a lot of money from the golden boxes, obviously. And that's the goal. It's because you're not getting any presents, wargaming is. And if you're thinking of getting this vehicle as a present for Christmas, well then think again and get yourself a vehicle that is actually affordable and at a decent price. Because, I mean, would you really want to spend like 200 euros or more to get a tank early, when with that same 200 euros, you can buy 5 tier 10s, pretty much? Would you really want to do that? Well, I don't. So certainly, again, it's a Christmas event as them all. But as every single time, like we saw with the T22, like as we saw with the AMX M449, eventually they will be sold in the shop. And no, they're not OP, and there's always someone out there that's like, oh my god, this New Year's Christmas tank is so broken, it's amazing, it's overpowered. And, no, it isn't. It's new, but it's not OP. So, if anyone says that this vehicle is OP, then unsubscribe from them. And with that said, well, happy gambling, I suppose. Don't waste your free XP unless you absolutely can. Basically, you have every single vehicle in the game already, then you can buy free XP boxes, but other than that, just don't. Use your free XP for something useful. For example, for researching the T124 that you can play and enjoy for a very long time, until eventually this vehicle ends up in the shop and is sold for a proper price. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.